Hello everyone, Boyces here, and today I'm making a guide about the best comp in the patch 10.24b, which is Warwick Divine Carry. It is, I think, the best comp just because of the consistency that you can get top 4 with it, with really flexible items. Of course, there are some best in slots, but uh, basically Warwick is the strongest 4 cost unit in the game, in my opinion, right now. And 6 Divine with him is really strong. If you do get him to 2 star, it's almost guaranteed the top 4, especially if you do hit those Adepts and Mystic units. Yeah, I will be guiding you through the early, mid, and late game for this comp, and just enjoy your free LP and get that next rank that you wanted always to go for. Let me know if you do have any questions in the comments, or you can also ask in my Discord where I'm answering any questions you have there with my small community. But here it goes. So this is what the final comp can look like. Of course, this is one variation, there's many others. I just really like this one because you do have the 6 Divine, 3 Adept, 2 Dazzler, and 2 Mystics, which is all the strong synergies that you need in the late game. So the best in slot for Warwick, because he will be your carry, I think, are those items. Remnants, Deathblade, and QSS. But you have to keep in mind that it is really flexible, and the only core item that you really need is Remnants. Why? Because you need him to actually hit multiple units to be able to carry the fight. Once he gets in that Divine stack, Divine buff, I should say, and gets his ult off with the attack speed and just one damage item, he will just carry the fight. It is super strong. Remnants is core. I would not change anything about the Remnants, but Deathblade can be an IE, can be a BT, just depending on what you hit. QSS is just great for no crowd control, but if you do get a Bramble or Dragon Claw or Titan's Resolve, it's fine as well. Don't worry about it. It's just those 3 work really well together for him, but if you don't have those 3, just a sword item instead of the Deathblade is totally fine. A defensive item instead of the QSS is totally fine. I wouldn't change Remnants. Yeah, the goal of this comp is to basically roll at 8 to find those units. Yeah, there is not much to say. This is just one variation that I think is very strong. I can definitely top one, especially if you do hit the Lee Sin, Yone, and Zillion 2 stars. But let's go through the early game now. So there's so many things that you can do in the early game, so many item order for the Warwick actually. One of them can be the Yasuo. If you do get, for example, a duelist chosen Yasuo, you can actually have him hold on the Hurricane or any sword items that you have, then transfer it later on to the Warwick. You can actually go 4 Duelists and maybe 2 Divine with the Jax and Wukong, and it will be actually a really strong early game. You can definitely stay with the Warlords, with Brawlers, Vanguards, anything like that is strong early game. You know, just go for it. Another item order in the early game that you can have for the Remnants and Deathblade with Sharpshooter buff is Vayne. Vayne is actually really strong with Hurricane because it will proc the true damage on multiple targets. Plus the Sharpshooter buff, if you do get, I don't know, a Nidalee for example, can be really good. You would just need a strong front line and you will be, if you do lose, not losing a ton of HP. So now we need to talk about the mid game. In the mid game, if you don't go for the Yasuo 4 duelist variation, if you just have a strong front line with like Brawlers or Vanguards or whatever you can get, I recommend one of those 3 units to be the order for the Warwick. Those are the best. Remnants on Z, of course, it's always fantastic, so you can see Lady on multiple targets. Aphelios is actually really strong right now. There is actually a new Moonlight comp that uses Silas and Aphelios. 3-star and have Aphelios 4 with Rageblade, BT, and QSS that I can cover maybe later if you guys are interested. It is actually really, really strong. He's a great carry now. But he's also a great item holder for the Warwick. He's also a hunter, and 2 hunter in the early game is actually quite strong. So if you do find a kindred and have those items on the Aphelios, you should be good to go. If you do find a kindred early, maybe because of a gray orb or something, put the items on a kindred. Kindred early game is disgusting. It's super, super strong. And you can honestly just keep her until you find the Warwick upgraded. Yeah, she's just that strong, especially if you can 2-star her. But that's basically it in a mid game. If you just find those units, upgrade them, and have a strong front line, you should be good to go. The game plan here will be to go to level 8 ASAP. I recommend going in at 4-5 to just try to roll and find your chosen. Of course, in this comp, it is best to find a chosen divine, so you don't have to run a Wukong just to have it for 6 divine bot. Basically, it will just be a bot for the 6 divine buff. So if you do get a divine Lux, or even better, if you're lucky to get a divine Warwick, perfect, go for it. Because you need the Wukong, and I think the Listen, if you don't get the chosen, it's a bit tricky in those cases. But if you did get on the radar the divine chosen with Lux or Warwick or whatever, even Jax, perfectly fine. If you do get a chosen divine Jax in the early game, just keep it and just roll for the Warwick and you'll be good to go. Yeah, so this is a model for the late game comp if you're like capped. Of course, instead of the Zillion, you can just have Janna before it to give you the Mystic. This is just a level 9. I would rather just have no Dazzler. I would rather have 3 Adept and 2 Mystics at level 8. Of course, this before needs to be the, where is he? The Wukong. Before you hold the list in a level 8. If you don't throw the units, fine, you have 2 Adepts and Mystic, you can find something else. Maybe you can even find the Dazzler. That's fine too, until you roll the unit. I do believe that 3 Adept is super, super strong, and it's needed to give time for the Warwick to just proc his ult, proc the Divine, and then just destroy everything. But until you roll the unit, you can definitely roll, if you have a Morgana, that's your Mystic Adept, that's really, really strong, level 8. Go for it. But that is it for this comp, guys. Really, really strong. Any tanky items, to be honest, can go either on a Shen or the Yone and Lee Sin once you do find them. I actually really like stacking lockets, maybe Chalice too, if you have to have. On the Jax, you can just put Jax in the middle and do something like this. I really like having the Shen next to the Warwick so it doesn't get targeted once it gets stunned. Warwick is 3 to attack and stack the Deathblade and the Divine buff. I really like the array on the corner so she can hit multiple people from the side. Yeah, just more tips on positioning, but yeah. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments or on the Discord. But we see you guys next time.